And I'd read articles about Ed and how he sees himself, which is all very interesting, you know, because he's sort of a bit of an outsider in the ballet world, yet he is totally the prince as well. And he just has this extraordinary technique and ability and sort of otherworldly kind of presence, you know. So I was thinking, oh, what could you do? And somehow the Metamorphosis just sort of flew in there. I don't know how. I think it just, I'd read it at high school, and it just came back to me, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting story. I'm going to read that again. And as I started reading it, I thought, oh, this would be very interesting for Ed. And the more I read it, it became like a very, very clear picture.
It was great working with Arthur. It was a very different way for me to work. You know, it was much more in the style of maybe actors' work, I don't know, where we improvised a lot and read a lot, and we all discussed themes and each other's characters. So there's a little piece of everybody in the cast in what each of us does. You know, we all had an input in that, but Arthur was very great about crafting all of those ideas and choreographing them to make, you know, really complete people.
We work three-dimensionally by building a scale model of how the set will be. It was quite a long process for us because in many ways the Metamorphosis offers up so many possibilities of how you could do it. It was kind of a very exciting process that went through quite a lot of changes and transformations.
We literally went through this very intense process, like a metamorphosis in itself, that we found eventually what the set could be. So that was a massive part of creating it, how the space would work.
So one of the key things in the design of this was the idea that Gregor Samsa becomes kind of infected with something and becomes ill. So instead of his kind of transformation in our production is that he vomits black bile, as it were, and this continues to spread over the set as the nightmare unfolds. By far the biggest challenge technically for us on this was coming up with a solution to how to have this black liquid that could spread over this beautiful perfect white set and also be cleaned up every night, and how that could come off the costumes. You know, it was important that the costumes looked very real and we used very fine fabrics, so there was a lot of research and development that went into finding the right solution for that. And in the end the solution is black treacle. Yeah, that's the secret.
I suppose the biggest challenge has been keeping the two rooms so distinctly separate. Certain things like the colour tone, keeping the palette very neutral, was almost a given, and that was relatively straightforward to do. We all knew that we wanted to do that, but keeping very precise definition between the two rooms, knowing that when we wanted one room to be dark and another room to be active, that all had to be absolutely crystal clear. The timings of every door opening and every door closing, all of that had to be kind of spot on, both with what the movement was doing, what the lights were doing, and also what the sound and music are doing as well.
The score was written in the room, in the rehearsals with the dancers. We did work on it before, but I don't think anything that I wrote before actually ended up in the piece, and I knew that it might be that way. And so Arthur would be creating choreography in the room and I'd be creating music simultaneously, which is a great process because we can respond to each other, people respond to what I'm playing, and I can see how they move and know exactly what's needed, rather than turning up with a score and then finding out how to make it fit. And you have to work very fast as a musician. We had a month or something to make 80 minutes piece. It was a great experience, and it pushed me to try all kinds of things that I'm not used to doing as well. And so I ended up, actually, most of my live performance element is with my voice and with a violin. That's probably the majority of what I'm doing live on the night, and neither of those are things that I'm used to doing at all.
You never know when you're creating something how it's going to turn out. You know, you only go into the room and you just try your best, and you you think about it and you work really, really hard to try and achieve something that is part of your vision together with the team. So it's just fantastic when you come into the room and you deliver it. So I think the Metamorphosis is really a massive, massive collaboration.